Welcome to the Fans First Talk Show. I'm your host, Liam.
And I'm your other host, Dex.
Coming up today on the Fans First Talk Show, we are unveiling our top 10 lists for G.I. Joe Classified in 2023. Folks, you're getting a 2-for-1 in this episode. Not only are you getting my list, but you're also getting Dex's top 10.
Which is a lot better than this.
We'll have to wait and see. Now first, let's get this out of the way. Ranking G.I. Joe Classified figures is damn near impossible. Like any top 10 list of anything in the world, we all likely won't agree with everyone's picks. And so it's unlikely that there's anyone out there who's going to agree exactly with both of us. After all, we all have our own opinions. So with that in mind, we want you guys to list your top 5 or your top 10 in the comments below. These are some of the best action figures on the market, and some of the best G.I. Joe figures ever released, point blank period. One could easily make an argument that there should be a 6-way tie at the top. But we can all agree on one thing, G.I. Joe Classified had another hot performance this year. Our rankings are based on the following criteria. Likeness. Does it look like the character? Packaging. The better it is, the more we appreciate it. Accessories. Do they make sense with the character, and how good do they look? Attention to detail. This is the quality of the head sculpts, the outfit, and the paint apps, all of which are extremely important. And finally, legacy. Will it stand the test of time, and is it memorable? In 2023, the G.I. Joe Classified series gave us the tightest race that we've had so far. There were so many good figures, picking the one which stands out the most is a tough task. So while we give you our thoughts on the best figures of the year, take some time and give some thought to your own top 5 or top 10 lists. Then post them in the comments below. I've got 5 honorable mentions that I want to just discuss quickly because I wanted to make room for them on the top 10, but it's so loaded, it just didn't work out. And some of these might be your personal favorites out there. I know one of them definitely is very popular. I just wanted to recognize some other people instead. First up, Firefly. Obviously, there were some quality control issues that hampered this, and otherwise, I probably would have had Firefly pretty high up my rankings. It's pretty much the way that we wanted Firefly to look, with maybe the exception of the head sculpt. But overall, the quality control issues got in the way here, and I didn't have room for it. Next, Mole Rat. Great sculpting, cool creative design. Next, another figure that I want to highlight is Night Force Shooter. This is a fresh look for a modern day Joe. She has sneakers instead of combat boots. There are different hair pieces which give her a very different look overall. And they pair nicely with a solid head sculpt with quality sculpting. Plus, this is one of my favorite sniper rifles in the entire line. She has modern looking gear, a great looking tattoo on her arm, and overall this is a very underrated figure. And how about Shockwave, another favorite? And this is a great in-hand figure. It's a lot of fun to pose and just overall really good. I'm overall really impressed with Shockwave. And my last honorable mention is Helix. Agent Helix is a modern-era character, one of the top protagonists, and I think she would have been one of the most popular G.I. Joe characters if she had been introduced back in the 80s. This version comes with 2 swords, a machete, 2 mantis blades, 2 pistols, and this is one badass-looking female G.I. Joe. The head sculpt is on point, and there's a very nice ombre hair coloring on her hair. These are the little things that we really appreciate. I think this figure would benefit from a dark wash, but regardless of that, this is one of my new favorites for G.I. Joe Classified, and one of the new centerpieces of our collection. She stands out, and she looks like a leader. And before we move on, we invite you to quickly do us a favor and smash that like button to show your support for the show and the work that we put into it. So here we go. This is my top 10 list for 2023 for G.I. Joe Classified. At number 10, Lowlight, one of my childhood favorites. And man, they did a great job with it. Dex, you have the 25th anniversary Lowlight. This was basically a blown up version of that. Great accessories, awesome sniper rifle. Some people had complaints about the face, but honestly, I don't care. How many times did we see Lowlight without his goggles on? I keep the goggles on him all the time. That's the look. Amazing figure. Number 9, the Crimson Strike Team. Now, it might be unfair to include an entire trio here. Really, we're talking about Crimson Strike Team Baroness, but at the same time, while recognizing her, I gotta shine a spotlight on the Tomax and Zaymot. These are the best versions we've received so far, and that Baroness is absolutely the best Baroness that we've ever gotten for G.I. Joe, so this is absolutely one of the top figures of the year. At number 8, Rock and Roll. He comes with extra hands and this heavy-duty machine gun. A lot of his accessories clip onto the belt, and that's a great look when he's all geared up. His helmet has a Hang 10 insignia on it as a callback to his surfing days, so this is a great reference for old-school G.I. Joe fans. And when you talk about some of the best head sculpts of the year, rock and roll should be on that list. This is a fantastic head sculpt with great sculpting, and especially the dry brushing that's mixed into his hair. It gives it depth, and the end result is a fantastic looking rock and roll. Number 7, Scrap Iron with the Anti-Armor Drone. This is a classic looking design with a weathered torso protector. He has a removable helmet, and in a year full of awe-inspiring helmets, Scrap Iron's might be my favorite because it suits him so well. Scrap Iron is Cobra's explosives expert, and he looks the part here. He has large burn scars down the left side of his head and his left eye as well. In many ways, this highlights what the line is capable of, bringing G.I. Joe figures to life. On its own, this Scrap Iron figure would definitely make the top 10 list, but we're not done, because this set includes a remote-controlled Mars Industries rocket launcher drone on mini tank treads. The big, bulky blast effects for both the rockets and the ground explosions demonstrate the power and dominance of the anti-armor drone's capabilities. Whatever the target is going to end up looking like hellfire and brimstone upon impact. This is the definitive Scrap Iron. Number 6, Tripwire and the EOD device and his pet rat. This comes with 2 different protective vests, one retro and the other is a modern day version. And this goes hand in hand with his 2 incredible helmets. Again, one retro, one modern day. The EOD robot is decent. It has an articulated arm, but there's not a lot to it. But it adds to the overall world of play of G.I. Joe. The rat is better than it has any right to be. Very nice paint apps, it's a nice surprise. In short, in hand, this is one of the best experiences that you'll have with a G.I. Joe classified figure. I had low expectations for Tripwire, and I love those experiences where a figure takes you by surprise and blows you away. Tripwire was absolutely in that category this year, and that's why he's good enough to make the top 10. At number 5, Dreadnought Ripper. This is not only one of my favorite figures of the year, but also one of my favorite figures in the entire classified series. It's a gnarly looking figure, the head sculpt especially with that mohawk, the snarl, the beard. Even if you start looking at all the little details like the sculpting of the ears, there's not a single thing to complain about with this figure. I think it's damn near perfect. Then you take into consideration the eyes, the shades, the tattoos, his armbands, the wristbands, all the spikes, the chains, the weapons, that Jaws of Life claw, and of course his standard machine gun with the blade on the end. I think we really need to appreciate the work that was done on this figure and the quality that's coming to the line, especially with the Dreadnoughts. If the Dreadnoughts didn't look exactly the way that they should, I think a lot of fans would be disappointed, but man, I think Ripper only increases our enthusiasm for G.I. Joe Classified, and especially for other Dreadnoughts that we're waiting for. At number 4, the Televiper and Cobra Flight Pod. The story with Televiper is detailed sculpting and accessories. Televiper has 3 unique head sculpts, showcasing the attention to detail and a commitment to providing diverse options for collectors, especially when this is a troop builder. The more variety, the better, and Televiper hits home on all fronts. Then there's the Cobra Flight Pod and its classic design. The bubble enclosure adds a realistic touch and, more importantly, allows for a clear view of the figure inside. The overall aesthetic and articulation of the steering handle, the jet boosters, and the front-mounted laser gun enhance the posability and playability of this set. There are so many little details all over the Flight Pod. This set is a callback to the classic design of both the Flight Pod and the Televiper. And when the nostalgia, innovation, and overall quality are this good, collectors win. The Televiper and Cobra Flight Pod deserve to be on a top 10 list, and in my case, I've got it at number 4. At number 3, General Hawk. This is the Hawk that we were all waiting for, and the G.I. Joe design team delivered in every way. He looks older and more mature than the other characters. He's got wrinkles on his face to show his age. The helmet is great. The goggles are outstanding. And the leather bomber jacket has so many little details all over it. From start to finish, General Hawk is one of my favorite figures of the year. At number 2, Snow Job. This is based on the same mold as the Snow Serpent, but that doesn't matter. It has different web gear and a few tweaks to the arms. They don't even look the same. G.I. Joe's lead Winter Soldier has a couple of different head sculpts, one with a winter jacket hood over his head, and the other is just his normal head sculpt. Then to complete his look, he has ski goggles with a polarized lens. It really doesn't get much cooler than this. His kit loadout is full of accessories, and this includes a set of ski poles and skis, snowshoes, a pistol, a sniper rifle, and a large backpack which holds most of his accessories, which is very impressive. To this point, when he's all geared up from head to toe, Snowjob is one of the best looking G.I. Joe figures of all time. Additionally, when we talk about the small things, there's some pink skin on his cheek, which is exposure to the cold air. As someone who lives in a cold air environment, this is the type of attention to detail that we really appreciate. Unfortunately, outside the US, distribution for this figure was poor, so a lot of collectors did miss out on Snowjob. Ironically, a lot of Canadians are on that list. Overall, Snowjob will be a figure that is remembered for years to come, an outstanding representative for the 2023 Classified series, and in any other year, he might have been the top figure of the year. But that's reserved for only one character this year. At the number 1 spot on my list, the Snow Serpent. I can't say enough about this guy. One of my favorite all-time Cobra figures. It's a great design from back in the 80s, and I think that G.I. Joe Classified has made this even better. His fur gauntlets, the fur collar around his neck, the head sculpt alone with all the molding of the mask, the goggles, and the bulkiness of the figure too. I'm a big fan of everything about this figure, the accessories, such a great loadout, and it's also fun having something different like snowshoes and a snowboard. In future years when we look back, I think we're all going to remember how good this line was in 2023, and especially the Snow Serpent, General Hawk, Ripper, Snowjob, Televiper, Crimson Strike Team, Scrap Iron, Lowlight, Tripwire. So that's my top 10 list of the year. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but in the meantime, we're not done. Dex, let's throw it over to you. Why don't you let us know your top 10 for 2023 G.I. Joe Classified series?
Okay, here's my list. At number 10, Lowlight. I picked this figure for number 10 because he's really good with all the different accessories he comes with and the sniper rifle, and I like that you can take off his goggles. Number 9, Mole Rat. I love this figure's head sculpt. It's amazing, and all the accessories on him, he's an amazing army builder. And it's the first glow-in-the-dark feature. Number 8, Tripwire. This figure really surprised me. I thought it wasn't going to be that good, but it's clearly good if it's on my top 10. It was amazing. I love the claw and his metal detector and the rat. It's amazing. The head covers that you can put on.
Yeah, both helmets, amazing looks. Not the best head sculpt, but it's okay because he covered up with 2 amazing masks. I agree, but back to your list, Dex.
Yeah. Number 7, Ripper. I really liked the Jaws of Life on this one. I think that it was a really good system with the gears, so it's not like all stiff and you can barely do it. It works so smoothly, so it's kind of hard to break it unless you're being really rough with it. And that head sculpt is amazing. I really like it. Number 6, Torpedo. The accessories he comes with are really cool. I liked the scuba devices he came with. It was awesome that it was our first scuba guy. Number 5, Snow Serpent. I think it's awesome that he came with a snowboard and snowshoes. I would have been fine if he just had the snowboard. And then everything he also comes with, I'm surprised they gave us so much considering how thick some of the plastic was on there. Like for the wolf skin and the like bazooka and all that stuff was awesome. And they painted them different colors. Number 4, Scrap Iron. I think that the blast effects that came with this made it a lot better because then you can use the blast effects for anyone else. You can do it where people are running through like a minefield and all this cool stuff. And his face sculpt was amazing. It was outstanding, that head sculpt.
Yeah, you love that head sculpt. It's one of my favorites too, but I think you're a bigger fan of it than even I am. What a great gnarly look, right? Especially with the burn. Oh.
At number 3, I have General Hawk. I think General Hawk is one of the best figures for mainline release. All the accessories he comes with and the goggles look really good on him. The head sculpt looks really cool, especially with all the gray hair and wrinkles he has. Also, his jacket looks pretty real. It's also nice to have another leader on the Joe side. Number 2, Crimson Strike Team. I can't believe how good this packaging was. The briefcase and all the figures inside. Baroness is really good, that figure. I feel like people are leaving out Tomax and Zaymod. Those guys look amazing with all the gold and everything on them. They look crazy. Also, I like it because you can put your top 3 favorite characters in that briefcase. It comes with everything you want. It even comes with stands, and the weapons are amazing. And my favorite figure of this entire year was the Televiper and Cobra Flight Pod. That was amazing, the Flight Pod. All the different features with the seat belt and like how everything can swivel around, how you can add things in and then pull things out like just with ball joints and everything. All the articulation it has. It has more articulation than all the Snake Eyes lines combined. It was amazing though. And the Televiper has 3 different head sculpts and all this cool accessories. I loved him. And I'm pretty sure he comes with like a rangefinder or something like that where you can like look at for distance to like mark things probably, or like look from a distance. I think that's what his gun does. And that backpack is outstanding. It's one of the best backpacks in the entire line. It's so good. And that hose that attaches to it, amazing. And of course, it's pretty obvious, but the Flight Pod goes with every character. Have you seen how cool that looks with anyone? It even goes well with the Joes. It can go with the worst characters, Falcon, and make him look decent. No, we won't go that far with that though. But it's still amazing.
So there we go. Dex, great job with your list, but let's turn this over to you. Which figures are in your top 10 list for G.I. Joe Classified in 2023? We love seeing everyone's lists in the comments. Some are retro-inspired, some are inspired by your favorites from when you were young. Whatever the rationale, we want to hear from you. So let us know your top 10 in the comments below, or even just your top 5. Dex, any final thoughts on 2023 for G.I. Joe Classified?
I think it was one of the best years yet, with all the like Snow Serpents and then the vehicles we got, the Hiss Fire team and the Crimson Strike team. We had all these amazing sets. And then when you look at all the pre-orders that we can get for 2024, where I'm like, how can this get better? And then it's just like, we have Mud and Junkyard coming next year, the Van, you got Metalhead, the Shadow Tracker, and way more to come.
The 60th anniversary line as well.
Yeah, and then also the MMS and all this cool stuff. Hopefully the Dragonfly starts arriving for you guys next year.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the HasLab too much right here because HasLab is different and not everyone got it. So this is covering basically the year of G.I. Joe, but we're not getting into the HasLab. We left that separate. It speaks for itself. So the Hiss Tank, I think everyone can enjoy that for what it is on its own. If the Dragonfly ends up being as close in quality to the Hiss Tank,
that would be pretty cool.
It opens up an entire world of possibilities for what else is coming in the future.
I hope they do the Snowcat so it can go with Snow Job and also Snow Serpent.
Yeah, get Frostbite or Blizzard, other winter characters. I'm down for that. Iceberg. Let's get Iceberg. I'm waiting for that guy. My name is Liam. You can follow me on Instagram at Viper Island. For all things G.I. Joe, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you want to support the show, smash that like button. Until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, have a great day, and yo Joe!